Greetings, this is Jazz for JazReviews with Sniper Elite 3, the prequel to Sniper V2. Now set in the all-new exotic scene of rugged Africa, developed and published by Rebellion. As the German-American master sharpshooter, Karl Fairburn, the campaign involves a range of objectives from gathering intel, rescuing POWs, and assassinating generals. All linked to a main quest of stopping Project Zoika. The main attraction of Sniper Elite 3 are, of course, the particle X-ray destructions of Nazi skeletons. There are few things as satisfying in sniper games. The cinematic visual system has been upgraded to include muscle as well as skull and bone. The graphic brutality and sound design make for an entertaining experience that can prove challenging with the ballistic aids turned off. Bullet drop is slightly ridiculous, with factors like wind and heart rate control a continuous side effect. As impressive as the X-ray dynamic looks, it isn't all as sleek as you would hope. I found myself slightly confused after blowing a man's head up, only to discover the soldier had only really suffered a bleeding nose. Nevertheless, the sniping of Sniper Elite in all its glory does hold up as a fairly polished mechanic in-game. But the problem is that the rest of the game falls flat. Even with higher difficulties, you should cruise through this title without any real concern. AI inconsistencies are all too clear here, with finicky and very forced stealth perceptions. Stealth elements include throwing rocks or using flint and steel to create explosions as a strategy in tackling enemies. But it's all rather arbitrary, with guards responding to, say, a footstep that should clearly be outside of earshot. But because the AI programming is very basically scripted, there are no gradual values of detection, meaning that just an accidental press of the crouch button will trigger one very general parameter in an enemy guard. The most advanced of stealth aspects in play here allow the guards to take note of the player's last known location. But upon a successful escape, the Germans' AI reset to forget the player and lay completely oblivious to the dozens of mangled dead bodies. A limited amount of traps like trip mines, landmines, and dynamite can be used for a range of scenarios. Weapons can be modified too as a part of the campaign's ranking system, with new scopes, barrels, and unlockable weapons as you progress through the game. Although I didn't find any significant benefits to any of the newer weapons or the upgrades themselves. Most of the time, the player will want to stand near damaged generators or wait for some loud-ass explosion in order to mask their gunshots. As a game in whole, there are enough tactical situations to provide for some interesting gameplay moments, but the game lacks a serious amount of polish and its gameplay elements don't necessarily tie together all that well. Whilst the sniping systems may be satisfactory, it's downhill from there. As mentioned, AI discrepancies take away from any strategic brilliance, but the transition from stealth to all-out action reveals an abundance of cracks within the mechanics. The AI itself is the forerunner of this. Enemies will occasionally try to flank the player, but for the majority of time they will be content in staying exactly where they are. As opposed to tactical thinking and consequences of detection, Sniper Elite is prone to being played like a mindless game of shooting fish in a barrel, with a few extra items, gadgets, or gimmicks thrown in. A ton of glitches and imperfections are something you almost get used to whilst playing.
Der Schütze hält sich da drinnen versteckt! Ich bring dich um, du Schwein! Wachsam bleiben.
The narrative is basic and typical of what you might expect in mediocre stories. And that's a shame, given that the African environment is something completely new in World War II games. The game runs on the Azura engine, offering great draw distance, lighting, and the same high graphical qualities you may expect from AAA titles. But bear in mind, Sniper Elite 3 is not a AAA game. Added to the mix, however, are some well-appreciated co-op modes, including a fully comprehensive cooperative mode for the main campaign. Otherwise, there is also a survival wave-based mode as well as Overwatch that links up both player and spotter. And not forgetting Distance King that pits players out in a sharpshooting competition of distance target shooting. To sweeten the deal just a touch further, both team and all-out deathmatch serve as half-decent competitive outlets, should you feel so inclined. There is a lack in map quantity, but as a combination of multiplayer modes, it really isn't all that bad. Arguably, there is value for money behind this title, with replayability. The game is certainly an improvement over the last. The open world landscape segments in all 8 missions allow for unique and satisfying experiences, with secondary objectives like AA guns, trucks, and ammo supplies to be destroyed. Not to mention secrets like war diaries, sniper nests, and collectible cards to be found. But outside Sniper's headline feature of cinematic destructive sniping, satisfaction can only be achieved through self-set goals. To utilize a trap at one side of the map and manipulate Germans into a scenario that you created. But ultimately, the core game itself is one without technical polish, and the franchise still has a long way to go. I issue Sniper Elite 3. A 7 out of 10. This has been Jazz for JazReviews with my latest review for Sniper Elite 3. Available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and the old consoles. Thanks a bunch for watching, and for more reviews, click subscribe and stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you in the comments.